Okay, so we're working on the Johnny B. Good bassline, the Elvis version. So we're up here on the 12th fret, right? And our rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we slide off, and we do a chromatic walk up from A, open A, to oops, here we are, open A, and we go B, C, C sharp. We're going from A to D, right? So we usually skip that first fret next to the root and go right to the 2 frets away. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm intentionally using my first finger on all 4 because then I have to play the D with my second finger. Right? And so the pattern on D, right? So remember, you have your 4 fingers spread across the 4 frets, nice and even. You want to be right near the bar with your first finger, right near the bar with your 4th finger. Every finger in between so that the notes are nice and clean. So the pattern is D, and then we go F sharp, D, and then we reach up to an A, back to D, and then we go B up here on the first string, and then back to A. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're trying to play the whole thing without moving fingers. You see, the only thing that's happening is my pinky is coming down when it needs to play, but everything else is staying pretty still. Okay? So we do that pattern, and then we have our root or octave, 6, 5, 6. 1, 6, 5, and then there's a little fill. And then we do on the 5 chord, 1, 6, 5, 6. And then when we get to 4, it's a little bit, it's almost identical to our original pattern for the 4 chord. And then there's a fill here, 3rd fret, 4th fret. And then you're going to have to do a quick switch with your second finger back to the A. So that 4 chord is move like that. And then for this turnaround where we go from the 1 to the 5, remember we're doing that chromatic walk up, but all he's doing is he's adding a root as an 8th note in between every note. So it's 1 and 2 and 3rd finger, 4th finger, 4th finger again. And then the 5 chord is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So here's the whole thing from the top. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay, and then I'll just go over the verse anyway, so you can kind of check it out. He starts with that 1, 6, 5, 6 pattern, but now it's an octave lower. Root, A, 6, F sharp, E, which is 5, and then back to 6 on F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he does a chromatic walk up from A to D. A, B, C sharp, a C, C sharp, and then we do our D pattern. And then the second measure of the D pattern, it's almost identical, but it does kind of a fill. So it's the same on beats 1 through 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and, except now instead of going 6, 5, which we were doing, the pattern was 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, 6, 5, right? Now it's 1, 3, 5, and then 3, 5. So it sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so that's all he changes. And then we go back to 1 and we're doing our chromatic walk up to E, from A to E. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and like that. So you're going to play 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And the reason that the 2 beat 4s are different is because in the first measure, you're playing the E, the fifth of A, as a fill. So he wants you to get there. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Now the second measure he does it, he plays that D sharp twice because you're going to be on this note on beat 1, so you don't want to get there early. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. As opposed to the wrong way would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Right? So you don't want that. You don't want to get to the note early. So that's why he does that. So the one chord is 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slide your second finger up to that E because you're doing that pattern again, this chromatic walk up on E now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and almost identical to 1. And then you do the same pattern on the 4 chord. 1, chromatic walk up. And then on the 1 chord, the chromatic walk up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's this fill. So the 1 chord measure again is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, on the last measure, the 5 chord, the fill is this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you're going to actually be here on beat 1. That's what starts the chorus. Okay? So the fill is the very last measure that I wrote down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... See, you have to reach down to that top note and then be here for beat 1 in the next line. So that turnaround is from the 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and oops, I screwed up. So from the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, so here's the whole verse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Walk up. D pattern. Fill. And then chromatic walk up. Chromatic walk up. Chromatic walk up. Fill. Okay? So that's that whole verse.